All right. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Oh my goodness. Well, I don't know if you can see. Let's see if I can get the right angle right here. I took a paw from, I'm not sure if it was Genghis or Caesar, right there to the face. That felt great. I really enjoyed that. That just happened about an hour and a half ago. Not a good time. Not a good time. Mud and crap and all that in your face. Yeah, I was not real pleased. Uh, well, I do the way I do it. Like I give them, they give them food in the morning, and I check on them during the day, and then like when it gets dark, like at 5 o'clock, 5:30, I think I went out at 6. I made sure Kali had enough food and water. She was out of water, so I gave her more water. The boys, I gave them more food because obviously there's 3 of them in there, and so I got like 2 dishes in there for them. But yeah, so it's just fun times. All right. So anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. Welcome, welcome. We got Ricky Bobby's here. Kathy is in the house. Alex here. Carol Prince, Bobby Farron, Dale from Ohio, Carolyn Adams, uh, El Vault, Sonia Klein, DJ's in the house. The Lamb's Light. Yeah, DJ, what's going on with this egg count, man? You haven't gotten one in a while now. That Garden Life Mimi's here. So welcome everybody. I hope everybody, like I said, hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you've had a good weekend. Uh, and I'm gonna have a drink to you all. Ah, so anyway, been a decent, real decent day. Batteries charged up really, really well today, so that was always a pleasant thing. When you get to this time of year, and I don't have to run the generator, that's always a bonus. Always a bonus. And especially if I don't have to run it very much. Like yesterday, I ran it, I think, about an hour and a half just to top it off because it was at like 71%. But not today. I just checked a little while ago, and it was still at like 92%. So I'll be good to go all through the night. So that's helpful. And it's warmer, even though we're getting down like at night. We're getting down in the 20s. Let me actually tell you what the temperature is right now. I will tell you in just a moment here. Thing pops up. But we're supposed to, I think we're going to get rain tomorrow, they're calling for. So that's good. I'm glad, as long as it's not snow. How much battery do you use on average overnight, and what's being used? Well, basically, just heard the furnace kick on. Yeah, right now it's 35. Actually, they have snowflakes in the forecast for tomorrow, but it's going down to 32 tonight. Tomorrow's high is going to be 36, and then we get Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're looking at 40s. So, ooh, then cold temperatures come in for the weekend. Well, that's not going to be nice. Um, what are they? Oh, it looks like a good chance of snow for tomorrow. No, that's well. I heard rain, so maybe they changed it. I'm not sure, but we'll see. We'll play that one out as we go. But so before we jump in anything, guys, I do want to remind everybody that this is a very family friendly oriented channel. Oh, I'll tell you in a second too. I'll finish what I was telling you. Um, I would ask you all to please be decent in the chat. No racism, no nastiness. If you can't abide by those very simple, easy rules, those awesome people lit up in blue with the blue wrenches are going to boot you out of here. If somebody comes in and makes an off-color comment, please don't engage with them. Just let the moderators take care of them because they're looking for attention. So let's not give them any. Okay, so that's just putting it that way. It makes it so much easier. So anyway, so what normally do I use at night? The furnace is, it kicks on when it needs to kick on. Um, so, that's a draw on the batteries. Like lights, I'll have lights. I generally at night avoid using the microwave. I don't really use the microwave at night just because I don't want it's a heavy draw on the system. So I don't like to use that unless it's during the daytime and it's sunny. I don't mind using it then. But I mean, there's so many different things that I can do instead of using the microwave. So why use it if I don't have to? That's the way I look at it. Um, what else? Like I said, just lights generally. If I'm plugging, like the laptop's plugged in, or I have the internet plugged in, so when I'm done, when I'm done with the internet, I unplug it. So, how are the dogs doing? Alex, the puppies are great. There's a couple of them they're fat. I just looked in there. I was like today, and I was looking at them and stuff. And there's like three of them that are like really fat, and I'm like, oh my god, they're being pigs. But that's funny. They're doing good though. She's doing such a good job. Kali is. She's doing a really really good job. So I'm really happy about that as well. It's so neat to watch just that natural instinct take over with the dogs or cats or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So that's really cool. That's really, really cool to see. So what do we got? 185 in the chat, guys. We got 60 thumbs up. So if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, please do so to show support for the channel. Again, I do appreciate it. It really makes a huge difference with the algorithms as well. So I thank you for that reason as well. Also, again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. So thank you, and I do appreciate that. I want to get into, what we're going to be talking about here. Something has to change. And, like with this whole Epstein thing, I will tell you, it's strictly my opinion, okay? Strictly my opinion. I think that a lot of the information we'll never see, and the reason it will never see it is because they're using it. They're using that information as blackmail. So, what do I do after the batteries go bad after SHTF and you can't replace them? Then we deal with it. We deal with other alternatives then. If it gets us through, Mimi, let's put it like this. I'll give you an example of something, right? Okay. So right now up in New York, Heather's batteries are fading. They're fading. So she's going to have to make a move and get different batteries. So I actually contacted Brian. He gave some suggestions. I sent them to Heather, and I talked to her. The cool thing is the technology from 10 years ago has advanced leaps and bounds. So yeah, live by candlelight, exactly. The technology's jumped by leaps and bounds. So we're so much more advanced now than we were 10 years ago when I put that system in New York. So she can revamp what she's doing with a new set of batteries that will make so much of a difference for her, and it'll be much more efficient. So, and it won't be out in the battery room. Those batteries would be batteries that you keep right in the house. So I think that is a great way for her to go moving forward. Brian, it was funny because he had suggested to her about going on grid. And she's like, absolutely not. I don't want to be on grid. And I love that. That makes me proud. Okay. That, she wants to continue to live off grid and follow that path. I think that is amazing. And I really love that. You know what I mean? And she's such a good kid, but, so very, very cool. But anyway, if let's say SHTF happened next year, right? And I ended up getting 5 to 6 years of battery usage out of my battery. We're going to be in such a different place at that point in time. 5 or 6 years out in a true SHTF situation, we probably, wouldn't be using power that much anymore anyway. Hey, RC Kev, sorry the white puppy died, my friend. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I was kind of bummed. I was really hoping that white puppy would survive. Now, so I want to clarify something about that too. And thank you very much for the donation. So Hella came from a litter that had 2 white male puppies. Okay, they weren't albinos. It was just whatever genetic gene that was in that gene pool. And the people that I got Hella from, they kept both of those males, okay? And they're huge, full grown. They're not blind or anything like that. So when I saw that Kali had a white puppy, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so awesome. And I would have kept that puppy. I will tell you right now, I would have kept that puppy for sure. It was a female. So I was kind of, things happen, I mean, unfortunately, they're not all going to make it. So that's, part of what you got to deal with. But the way you smile while talking about the puppies, I can see you keeping a boy. I already, Garden Life, listen, I have 3 males already. Okay. I have 2 females. So I really don't need any more. Now, there is one that is an interesting color. I will say that. There is one that's an interesting color. So lighter. So, am I going to say no? I'm not going to ever keep any of them. I'm not going to say that, and I'm sure people are going to judge. Oh my God, you're going to keep more. I really don't care. If I decide, if I make the decision, and I want to keep another one of the puppies, then I will. If I don't, then I won't. You know what I mean? It comes down to that. If I can afford to feed them, who cares what I do with my animals? You know. Oh, that's cool. Your female had 3 white siblings in her litter. Yeah, that's a really neat gene that is in that gene pool. And so when that happens, that's just wild. Because realistically, how often do you see a white German Shepherd, all white German Shepherd, So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But anyway, so I don't know if I told you guys this or not. Um, CC, the guy that was the stud for Hella for the original litter that I had, um, they had picked the litter and they wanted a female. So I gave them a female. They picked which one they wanted and they got her. Unfortunately, at about 6 months, she died of parvo. And I felt really bad about that. I really did. I was like, God, I can't believe that, because they took her to the vet and the dog had parvo and died. So I said to him when I thought that possibly Kali might be pregnant, I said, listen, if she is pregnant, I said, I'm giving you one of the puppies from this litter. And he said, are you serious? And I'm like, yes, 100%. Because I felt so bad that he was torn up. I mean, torn up that other dog died. So, I have a soft heart. I'm going to talk myself into keeping at least one. We'll see. No guarantees. No guarantees. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, I'm a softie and I love animals. So, there might be one that I go, yeah, nobody can have that one. We'll see. I don't know. No guarantees, yes or no. I'm not going to say I'm definitely not, and I'm not saying I definitely am. So we'll see what happens. But so anyway, he's going to get one of the puppies, and I think they want a male. So because originally they took a female. So we used to lose a lot to parvo. That stuff stays in the soil for years. Yeah, he's going to make sure this time that that they do what they got to do to make sure that hopefully the dog doesn't get parvo. But anyway, so what I was saying, going back to what I was saying, I'm already talking myself into it. No, I'm not. I'm not really. Like I said, I'm going to say we'll see, because if I become a softie and I decide I'm keeping one, then it's not like it's a surprise. So, but anyway, going back to what I was saying, the information that they have on people of influence, politicians, Hollywood types, musicians, all those type of people, whoever was going to Epstein's Island and they got videotape proof of what these people were doing. I think you're going to see that they're never going to share that information because they're going to use that information. That's information that they. There is a vaccine for parvo. Yes, Sonia, there is one. Yep. Yes, there is. So, and you can actually get that. There's it's like 13 shots in one that you can actually get at Tractor Supply for dogs. Ask me how I know. So, but anyway, they're going to keep that information. They're not going to share that with the public, because if they expose some of these people, they can't use them. They can't control them. I think there's a lot of that goes on in Washington, D.C. They get people in compromising positions. People have different kinks. Some of them you might go, okay, that's all right. And some of them you might go, wow, that's weird. But they have them, okay? Everybody, I'm going to tell you what, everybody watching this live stream right now, 233 people in here watching right at the moment, okay? Every single one of you has something that you like, okay? You have something that you like. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to act on it. That doesn't mean you're going to, actively partake in it. You might, because you like it. It's your thing. It's your kink, okay? Everybody has them. And if somebody comes on here and says, I don't then you're a liar, okay? Because everybody has something that they like. It could be what we would consider normal, right? It could be something that you would consider normal. And then it could be something you would consider unnormal, that some people would go, what the hell? Okay. So like, I'll give you an example. All right. I really truly don't get hardcore S&M. I don't get it. I mean, to each their own. If you're into it and that's your thing, great. Beat the crap out of each other and have a great time with it. I don't care, because it ain't going to be nothing to do with me. I ain't getting involved in it. Okay. People that dress up like babies, I don't get that either. Okay. Water sports. And if you don't know what that means, you can look that up. It's I don't get that either. Not my thing. Okay. But again, I don't judge people because they have their thing. Everybody does. Okay. But the problem is, once you have somebody in a position of power and they have some dirty little secret or some kink that they like, fetishes, right? Exactly. They're going to manipulate that and use that against them because they don't want to be exposed. Yeah, water sports is gross, Sonia. I agree 100%. I think it's one of the most disgusting things out there. I don't get it. I don't understand it. People do it, but ain't my twist. Okay, ain't my twist. So, but anyway, my daughter's golden shepherd got parvo at 7 weeks. Vet gave her Tamiflu. It worked. Oh, okay. Well, I just whatever happened with their dog, it happened. We'll have an egg count at quarter to 9. We'll do the egg count at 8:45. So that's when we always do the egg count. But you're talking about well, no, I'm going to tell you what right now. There is one thing that I believe there's only one cure for. All right, those idiots they call themselves MAPS. All right, minor attracted person. All right, if you're one of those sickos, there's only one cure for you, and that's a bullet right back here in the back of your head. Okay, I'm sorry, but two consenting adults, do whatever you got to do. But when they do things with little kids, I have a huge issue with that. So I have the cure for it, and I'd be more than happy to volunteer to do it. If they need somebody to be the one to do it, I would do it. Maps belong on the wall. All right, exactly. I would have no problem with that. And I'd sleep like a baby. You know why? Because I know I'd be protecting kids. They'd say that a child predator will affect no less than 100 children in their lifetime. I want you to think about that. Destroyed. These kids get destroyed. They're never the same. They end up with all kinds of issues, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, if you want to talk about a hatred, I have a hatred for those people because they deserve only one thing. They don't deserve our mercy. They don't deserve our compassion. They don't need to be out in public ever, ever, ever again, because as soon as they get out in public, and they're model prisoners, they don't do anything wrong in prison because they want to get out, because there ain't no little kids in prison. So, that's a whole different topic for another day. because I can get on a soapbox about that one. I can tell you what, I truly overprotected my children because I was not going to have something happen with them. Like they never even spent the night at their grandparents' house, folks. You know, but yeah, so they never did that. The first time, I'll tell you right, I'll explain to you right now. The first time Heather spent the night at somebody else's house, she was 17 years old. 17. And the only reason she went to a concert with a girlfriend of hers, and the mother was supposed to bring them back to the house. And so, you know, I didn't have anybody there that night. Eddie was with his mom. So I'd had a few cocktails and I was sitting around chilling. And then Heather called me and she's like, Dad, she's really tired. Could you come and get me? And I'm like, well, Heather, I said, I've been drinking and I really don't want to drive. Um, did you see there was another stabbing on the blue line in Charlotte by an illegal? I did not see that, JJ. I did not see that. But anyway, so I said, why don't you just go ahead and spend the night and then can she bring you home in the morning? And she was literally like, are you serious, Dad? And I'm like, yes, you can spend the night. And so she went and spent the night, you know, or she was already there. So she spent the night. But at 17, she's old enough that if somebody tried something, she would call me and, you know, yeah, that would have been the end of that. So, yeah. Anyway, so I was very overprotective of my kids just because I didn't want anything to happen to them. All right, so we got what 252 or 253 in the chat. We got 110 thumbs up. So I'm going to ask again real quick, if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, please do so to show support for the channel, and I thank you ahead of time. It really does make a huge difference with the algorithms, and thank you for that as well. Again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. And thank you very much ahead of time. So I do appreciate that. So anyway, so you have a lot of blackmail going on, not only in Hollywood, not only in Washington, you know, with these politicians. They you know, people like the ones like singers a lot of times. I'm not saying all of them, folks, so please don't put words in my mouth that I'm saying all singers and all actresses and all actors. There are some of them. I haven't even been out, Real Freedom. So I'm actually going out tomorrow. I haven't been out in a week. So I will be heading out tomorrow. So I'm hoping there's not any downed trees on the road. I don't think so. The ice wasn't that heavy, and I didn't hear trees breaking off in the woods like when we had that other ice storm. And there was, you know, trees down all over the place that time. That was a freaking nightmare. But we didn't have that. The ice wasn't that heavy, so we didn't have anything breaking off. So I'm thinking that we probably are going to be just fine. I hope. I'll find out tomorrow. So I got to go fill up some propane tanks, and I got to go do laundry. There's a lot of fun stuff tomorrow. Folks, I'll tell you right now, if I could stay here on the property pretty much full time, go out maybe once a month, I would love that. You know, I always got something that I can do, you know, plenty to keep me busy. And, you know, the outside world, they can kill themselves and beat each other up and do all that type of stuff. What do you think of the tensions between China and Japan? Well, you know, that's an ongoing thing and has been ongoing forever. You know, World War II, Japan went into China and did some serious atrocities. I still don't think that China's forgiven them for that. China wants to control that whole area over there, and Japan is in the way of that. Do you have a heater that runs on propane? Yes, I do. Yep, the heat for the camper is on propane. So that's how I do it. And then, like I said, it's you know, I actually, now that we got the pavilion better, I spent a lot of time. Yesterday I cooked up. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday I cooked up pork chops. So and then the day before, 2 days before that, I cooked up chicken. So I call up Steve. I'm like, it's so funny. I go, hey man, you want to have some pork chops? He's like, yeah. So I'm like, I'm cooking. I'm going to be in the pavilion. So we'll sit in the pavilion. We'll drink a beer. I'll cook, whatever I'm cooking. And, that's what we do. So is it cost effective? Just wondering. It gets a little pricey, to be honest with you. But, I mean, not really, let's put it like this. I guarantee you, most of you, for your gas and electric bills, are paying a whole lot more than I am. Okay. Because my electric, I don't pay nothing for. So, in a way that they are going with that. So if I got let's say I run, I don't know what, 2 tanks a week. Let's call it 2 tanks a week. Okay. If it's that much, there's $30 in propane a week. So, that would be 120 in the month. I'm sure most of you, your gas and electric bills are much, much more than that. So, I mean, it's a trade-off. Now, eventually, I do plan on building something. And when I build something, I will heat it with wood. So, and then it'll be a whole different animal that we will be working with at that point in time. So, but am I doing any road trips during the spring and summer of 2006? I don't have anything planned at this point in time. No, Alex, I don't. But my husband is processing a deer right now. He has a bone broth going. Cool. That's very cool. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. So, but I love a wood stove. I'll tell you, like I said, when I'm cooking in the pavilion, I'm using the wood stove, and every time I'm out there, I'm going, God, I love wood heat. It is just something about it. It's different. It's amazing, and I absolutely love it. So, yeah, definitely love the wood heat. So, but anyway, going back to what we were talking about, so many of these people are compromised, and something's got to give, something's got to change, because the status quo is not working. I mean, I don't see, because in my lifetime, there's always been the left and the right, and then you have a couple independents or whatever and stuff like that. But now it seems like it's so galvanized now. You're either one of them or you're one of them. And I don't understand how anybody can pigeonhole somebody and say, you're left, you're right, or whatever the case may be. So, but, when you use a wood stove, do you have maintenance on the sheetrock? No. What you're putting up cement board behind your wood stove. You're putting cement board down underneath your wood stove. And then, you might be using bricks, underneath your wood stove as well. So, you're not going to have any issue with that. And that's primarily, because the wood stove's kicking off heat. And if it's kicking off heat behind, you're that far from the wall. You want to have a barrier so that the wall's not going to get too hot. So, compromised people are useful and controllable. Well, exactly. And that's what they want, Okie Forge. They want to control you. And if they can get you and say, well, if I expose this about you, then, where will your reputation be? What will people think? All those type of things. And, to me, it's like, that's sad that they would do that to people, but it's a tool that is used. It's used constantly, and so, I don't ever see that changing anytime soon. I really don't, because they love to control people. And the best way to control people is get dirt on them. And a lot of people, especially, I'm trying to remember, God, there's so many different stories out there, but there was like a pastor that was, I know what it was. There was this pastor, and he was online, cross-dressing online, and it like got found out, and so they were threatening to expose him, and so then this guy ended up killing himself. because he couldn't take, I guess, the shame um, of having the public. And again, like I said, he's the head of this church. He's a pastor of this church. And yeah, blackmailing's been good common practice for governments for decades. Yeah, or what they do is they send in spies, they compromise people that way, and then they use you, that way for their government someplace else. I mean, we've seen that happen, with the Chinese and stuff like that. And they all do it, folks. I mean, they all do it. So, but it's just the galvanization right now. The divide is so large. I don't see ever any of them coming together. I really don't. It's unfortunate. Don't do anything people can blackmail you for. Well, that's easier said than done, right? But yeah, it's just it's unfortunate what happens and what goes on. But again, those people want to be in positions of power because then they have control. You look at small towns, folks. You have certain people that know everybody, and so they're, if you want to call it the clique, they're in the clique. So they're in a position where they get away with a lot more than Joe average citizen. And if you are somebody they don't like, right, they're coming after you. I mean, you've seen that. Do you remember the guy? I think it was in Colorado, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. And he was fighting with the town forever. And they were, doing everything they possibly could to jam this guy up. And so he took a bulldozer and made a steel casing for the outside of it that he lowered on to that bulldozer, and the killdozer, exactly. And then he went on a rampage, and was destroying buildings and destroying cars, and he was targeting certain people's businesses and stuff like that. He snapped. That's the other thing. There's a breaking point for everyone. Everybody has a breaking point. They really do. And that guy got pushed too far. New to your channel. Why start this channel? Thank you. Why start this channel? I wanted to share my journey, what I was doing, to try to help people, show people that just an average guy can go out there, follow his dream and make it happen. Showing people that they can do the same thing if they want to. If you don't have average people to look at and go, and the thing is, and I've made, like I said, folks, I've made a million mistakes. But the best thing, in my opinion, is if I share the good things and if I share the bad things, people will learn from that. And I think that that's important. I think we need to be able to be honest and say, hey, this screwed up and that screwed up, and this is what we had to do to fix it, or whatever the case may be. I mean, it sucks. It does. It really sucks. But that's part of life, and it happens for everybody. Going ahead and moving off grid and living off grid, it's not all sunshines and rainbows. It has to be something that you want. Realistically, I think there was a thing that said for every 100 people, I think it was, did they say 100? 100 people decide they're going to go live off grid. More than half, within inside of 1 year, were back on grid. And the reason is because it's not easy. It's difficult, and it's not always going to be fun. But to me, I'm very stubborn. I'm very focused when it comes to what I want to get accomplished, what I want to get done. And it's like I have a vision of what I want, and it takes dedication, right? Dedication and commitment. And either you're all in or you're not. And so for a lot of people, they realize, oh my God, this really is hard. And now I don't want to do it anymore. I'll give you an example, and I won't name names, but there was a YouTuber that I helped out at one point. Uh, he was all, we were talking all the time. And he was like, yeah, I'm moving off grid, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, awesome. I will encourage everybody to move off grid if you can, right? So he bought the property with somebody else. They, a buddy of his. They bought this property together. They got a building on the property. He had sold his house, moved to the property, helped get him a wood stove into this property. Okay, I donated my own money as well. I asked people to also donate, which they did. We got him the components that he needed to get the wood stove in for his property. 2 weeks of living off grid, he calls me up, okay, and he said, I don't want to do this. And I'm like, do what? He goes, live off grid. I thought he was joking. But 2 weeks and he quit. And I'm sorry. I lost all respect. You're not even giving it a chance. You're not even giving it a chance with 2 weeks. Hey, baby girl. That's not even giving it a chance. Okay. So I was pretty upset. And I was upset because I wasted my money. I wasted your guys' money because I asked you guys to help him as well. And he pissed on it. That's why I was upset. And again, come on, stop. But again, give it an effort. Give it 3-4 months, work it. Because he would say, well, blah, blah, stop. Stop. We're not doing this. No. See, I say this. Does she listen? What do you want, miss? Do you watch this? Do you want to go out? Hold on, guys. You're a pain. You're lucky I love you. So, come on, Bonnie. Get in here, girl. Oh, freaking dog. She won't quit neither. When she gets it in her head that she wants to go out, she won't stop. So, anyway. So, but again, so I was upset with that because, he never really tried. And so, yeah, it happens though. I mean, like I said, it's not for everybody. If it was easy, folks, everybody would do it. That's the reality. If it was easy, everyone would do it. So to me, it's just like, I do my thing. I chose to live this lifestyle. This is what I wanted, and, I dragged my kids along with me. So, and that was 11 years ago, went off grid. Been living off grid for 11 years now. So, it's, I'm not mentioning names. But, it's like I said, I've learned so much from the experience. And it is living off grid is physically demanding. Absolutely. I mean, there's chores every day. Like, people say, why don't you get cows? Why don't you get this? Why don't you get that? Hey, RC Kev, last thing I'd want to do is get on your bad side. Well, I'm going to tell you what. I'm the nicest guy in the world. I really, truly am. You get on my bad side, we're done. We're done. I'll show you my little girl here. She just came in. Miss Bonnie, you're a good girl. Going up there? Okay. But yeah, no, I don't have the time or the patience to deal with stupid stuff. So they sometimes show how dark it is around your homestead. People can't deal with darkness and like, oh my God. Okay, that's actually funny, Delbert, that you said that because you are so right about that. When we moved off grid to the old homestead where Heather is now, she had her friends come up and they were like, 13, I think at the time. And the one girl, Noemi, I'll never forget. Oh, and Noemi, I don't know if I shared this with you guys. Noemi ended up having twins. She had twins, and Kendall ended up having a little boy. So, yeah, they're already both mommies. where Heather's not yet, which is okay with me. But so anyway, what was I? Lost my train of thought now. What was I just saying? Oh, so anyway, so we get up and it's night and there's no lights at all, right? It's pitch black. And I remember Noemi going, "Oh my God, it's so dark out here. This is scary." And I'm like, "Why?" I'll go out at night with no flashlight, no nothing. And I got pretty good night vision, so I can see pretty decently in the dark. Like now, right now we've got the full moon. Okay, the full moon is in the cycle right now, um, and it is so it's so light out at night. It's almost to me, it's like daylight. It's pretty wild. So, but yeah, it's just I like I said, but yeah, it's people are not used to being out at night. They're not used to it at all. So we got 271 in the chat, guys. We got 152 thumbs up. We need 48 more. Hit 200. So that's the mission, please. Just for fun, let's hit 200 thumbs up. So again, what 120 people in the chat right now haven't shot a thumbs up yet. So if you haven't shot a thumbs up yet, please do so to show support for the channel. Again, I do appreciate that ahead of time. It really, really does make a big difference with the algorithm. So the more interaction, the better. Again, also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. So now we're at 166. We need 34 more, guys. 34 more thumbs up, and we will hit the goal of 200. So, but yeah, it's just like I love the dark. The dark has never bothered me. So I can't imagine being outside in the dark during SHTF. It'd be a little different situation, especially think about you live in suburbia or the city and you're used to having lights all the time, and now all of a sudden there's just not. And there would be a lot of predators out there, at night as well. No big animal wildlife encounters. Well, I've shown pictures here of black bear. We had old Mutt was here and got up in the morning and saw a black bear, so he had taken a picture of it here. I know we have deer all over the place. We do have coyotes around, so there's definitely predatory animals out there, but yeah, like I said, with the lights at night, your eyes will adjust and you'll see better the more that you're out there. So, like I said, I've always liked going out at night. I love watching the stars though too. So, I mean, like last night was a beautiful, beautiful night. It was clear skies. It was colder, obviously, but I just stood out there and was just looking at the stars. I absolutely love it. I very much enjoy it, and I just that's just part of my thing. With the kids, what we used to do, we would take a blanket and put it in the driveway at the old homestead, put a blanket down, get pillows, and lay on the ground, and we would have the cats and the dogs would all be around us, right? We'd have Caesar and Pandora. They would be right there. The cats would all be around us, laying with us, and we would just look at the stars, and it was just so much fun. We have wolves in northern Minnesota. That's cool. No, nothing wrong with that. So, but yeah, there are animals. I mean, we have bears out here. Like I said again, there's other predators out here as well. So yeah, and Kim's dog actually was up in the upper meadow. She had him chained up, and he got attacked by something up there. We still don't know what it was, but so he got messed up a little bit, and that happens. I mean, but yeah, I just. Yeah, those predators don't want your car or your wallet. Yeah, I prefer non-human. Well, like I said, you can deal with them if you need to. So, that's why when you see me generally outside, you see me armed. I'm not playing games. They do. Yep, the dogs will alert if they hear something in the woods. They absolutely will alert. So, yeah, absolutely. So, all right, what do we got? 181 thumbs up, guys. We need 19 more. 19 more thumbs up. So, again, if you haven't done so yet, please do so to show support for the channel. Again, thank you ahead of time. All right. Vicky says, I know I wouldn't do well all alone anywhere off grid in the country. I was one of those victims of those horrible people, and it does affect the rest of your life. I agree with that 100%. You got to be really careful, and you got to be able to protect yourself. There's the key. My biggest thing is, and I'll tell people this all the time: don't be a victim. I mean, if you're a man and you are 5'4" and you weigh 120 pounds, there are predatory people out there that will try to take advantage of that. Okay, they just will. They think they're bigger, they're stronger, and they probably are bigger and stronger. But I'll tell you what, a 9 mil, a 45, even a 22, that will level the playing field in a hurry. I like I said, I prefer a 45 because if I have to do it, and I don't ever want to, but if I ever had to do it, they're not getting up. That's the bottom line. So, but anyway. All right, so let's go ahead. We're at 190, guys, so we need 10 more. 10 more thumbs up. How many eggs today? Yes or no for Miss Betty White? And how many of the Easter eggers laid today? So I'll give you guys a minute to get your guesses in, and we will go from there. So I'll just give you guys another minute here, and we'll take a look and see what we got. Just give you one more minute here. So usually when I'm saying that, I haven't seen the right answer yet. Just that's like a clue. Okay, finally. I know I gave you guys a clue there, but if you had the same exact guess as Nostradamus, 4 eggs today, no for Miss Betty White, and 1 Easter egger. They took the day off. So congratulations to Nostradamus. You've won absolutely nothing, but you are happy about it. So there we go. So, but yeah, they were not laying today. And Miss Betty White hasn't laid in like 4 days. So I don't know it's cold. They're cold. Yeah, that's what it comes down to. They're too cold. So, but yeah, they're fun though. I still love the chickens. Go out there every day and they're always giving me hell. They come running though. That's the funniest part. They see me coming and they're just a running like, what's he got for us? What's he got? Because I give them scraps. If I'm doing like a salad or celery or whatever scraps I got, I take it out and I give them that, and they love that. So I'll invest my nothing wisely. There you go. So, but no, the chickens are fun. Like I said, I really truly enjoy the chickens. So, but anyway, guys, and I know I sound like a broken record a lot of times because I'm always going to repeat the same things. Even if you do it a little bit at a time, preparedness wise, and there's so many ways to do it. Food banks are a great way. Food banks, you can really get a lot of stuff. They give you a lot of canned food. They give you a lot of regular food. They'll give you, oatmeal and rice and, and other things as well. And if you, use that as a source of prepping, that is one way to do it. Earn extra money, by If you're in a state that has a bottle and can return the cans, get that extra money, and just use that. And that can add up quite quickly. There's a lot of people that don't bother returning their bottles and cans. They don't want to return their bottles and cans. So you can get them fairly cheaply, or well, you can get them for free and then turn them in, and that money adds up. It really adds up pretty quickly. So I got to tell you this. So down here in West Virginia, they do not have the bottle and can return law. So everything goes in the garbage, and it's gone, right? So I get back to New York, and I haven't been there in a year, and I really had to remember to take the empty water bottles or the empty can and put it in the extra bag because I'm so used to just throwing them out. And I actually threw a couple out, and then I had to go back and wait a minute, they got the return thing up here, so I had to save it. So, but yeah, that's so we're at 199, guys, on the thumbs up. We need one more to hit 200. So let's get that above 200, please. I'm looking like one away. So, but anyway, continue to prep, keep getting ready, do the best you can, even if it's a little bit at a time. A little bit at a time can make a difference. What you're trying to do realistically when it comes to preparedness, this is my take. Preparedness does a couple of different things. It buys you time. That's the number one thing. That's what you're looking for more than anything else is time. So, if you have food stashed away and you have water stashed away and you have ways to purify water, that's a big one. That's probably the biggest one. Besides having water stashed away, make sure you have ways to purify water. That's going to be huge, huge thing, okay? You're buying yourself time, and that's what you want. It gives you time to think. It gives you time to continue to eat while other people are going hungry and they're not thinking clearly and they're sick and all those type of things. But, that's, a big part of that. And so keeping sharp, keeping your wits about you, being able to make decisions based on, where you're at, what's going on where you're at, how much danger are you in where you're at. Those are big things. And you got to look at your situation wherever you guys are in the country. Will I be safe here? Now, where I was in New York, okay, I will tell you what, in a way, I always looked at it as an advantage because of winter. Because of winter, it was absolutely an advantage because the fact that most people don't prepare, they're going to be screwed, especially in a cold climate. So if you're in a cold climate and you're away from the cities and you're ready, your survival chances are greatly increased. The biggest thing you got to worry about is somebody coming to try to take what you have, okay? And you can be ready for that as well. If you can prepare and get things squared away so that people can't get in and can't use you as an easy target or a soft target. Those are definitely important aspects of it. So, but the farther away from the cities you are, the more prepared you are, the better your chances are going to be for long-term survival. My thing is, it's like, and I've talked about this a million times. Our game plan here now there'll be a lot to do. Everybody gets here, we're going to be real busy. So yeah, will it be loud? Probably. Okay. At night, we're going to be light discipline, low profile. When I say we're low profile, we don't plan on venturing out. That's not our goal. We're not going to be going out. We're going to be making sure we have defensive positions in place, that we have plenty of wood, all those things. There'll be so much to do, when that time comes, and figuring out, okay, who's on watch, who's going to be up when, who's going to be doing this, who's going to be doing that. Those are things that's really, really important. Again, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to be part of a group if you can be. Your chances of survival being in a group go up dramatically, especially if you're working together. And that's the key. That's the key, folks. It's working together. Not one person can do it all by themselves. You just can't, you know? So, but, yep, long term sustainable group. Yep. Yep. And again, you can in an SHTF situation, you can't let your guard down, and you have to be suspicious of anybody outside that's outside your group. We plan on keeping a low profile. We plan on staying right here on the property, taking care of what we need to take care of. Um, if we can help, we may help if we can, and if we can't, we're not going to. Okay, it's going to depend on how many people we have here, what our food supplies are, and how long that's going to last us. And that would be probably one of the first things we would need to do, is a complete inventory of what we have here as far as food, medical supplies, tools, all those type of things, ammo, guns. What do we got? What are we looking at? So it takes a group. It really does. And again, and I've talked about this before, and I think that this is really important. I really want you guys to pay attention to this. If you were out there trying to be that lone wolf and use just you and your family, what happens if you get hurt? What happens if you get compromised? What happens if you die? What happens to your family then? Okay. You can't stay up 24 hours a day. You can't do all the things that need to be done and keep your people safe. You just can't. That's the reality. So, that's one of the beauties of having a group. If somebody gets hurt or somebody gets sick, they're going to have time to recover. Okay. They're going to have because we'll be able to say, okay, look at, lay low, get better, get through your sickness, whatever the case may be. We may isolate them. We may end up doing something like that. So if somebody's sick, we'll have the sick bay, right? We'll have the sick bay. So that's where that person will be, or, people would be, if they're sick. And then, myself and probably Jamie, and Dawn, and then we also have, Bud is, does, hold on a second, I'm going blank here. I know exactly what he does. He's in the medical field as well. Respiratory therapist. So, we would be the ones that would be taking care of people, because that's what our expertise is. That's what our job is forever and ever and ever. So, again, and the other thing is, I would not be a nurse anymore. I would now be the doctor as well. Okay. Because there's no going to the doctor. So you have to have somebody that has some kind of medical knowledge. They're going to be the one that has to take care of things. And that's just a fact. And that's what you're going to have to deal with. So that's really important as well. Oh, I see we're at 216 on the thumbs up. So thank you guys. I do appreciate that. Getting that up there past 200. That's very cool. It's always kind of like a goal just for fun. If we get 200 thumbs up, I don't know why. That's kind of just the thing of it. But again, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of preparedness things that you need to do and take care of. You're going to have to make hard decisions. And remember, you can't save everybody. And if you help somebody, that's the other thing you got to think about. If you help them and say, okay, that's all I'm giving to you, and that's it, right? They're going to come back and they're going to come back and maybe bring more people with them looking for a handout. So you've got to be real careful with that. Now, neighbors, I may try to help neighbors out if I can. That doesn't mean I'm just going to start handing stuff over left, right, and center. Our survival as a group is number one. That's the thing, So, yeah, the hardest decision would be involving turning people away. It absolutely would be, because you're basically sentencing them to death. If you're turning people away, you're basically sentencing them to death. So it's heartbreaking, and then if kids are involved, oh my God, I mean, think about it, folks. I mean, can you do that? It would be really, really tough. It would be really, really tough. So to me, like I said, I'm going to try to do the best I can. I'm going to try to keep my humanity as much as I can, but I will not compromise the group. I will not compromise my family. And when that time comes, we're all going to have to make very, very difficult decisions. So, on that note, the important thing is this: setting goals, set realistic goals that you can meet, okay? And then follow STD, step, thing, and day. One step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. Whatever you are trying to do, whatever you're trying to accomplish, you can do it. Again, if you set realistic goals that you can meet and you work methodically towards them. May not get done in the time frame that you want them to, right? But if you work at it, it will get done. And that's the important thing. Um, Stay positive, stay away from negative people. And again, the most important thing with that, the only person that can stop you from succeeding is you. That's it, nobody else. You're the only one that can stop yourself. So it's really important to stay focused and take care of what you got to take care of. Anyway, guys, have a great night. I will talk to you all later. I will see you. I'll be live streaming on Wednesday, 6 o'clock for hardcore members, 8 o'clock for everybody else. If you can boost the videos tomorrow, Tuesday, I would appreciate that. Somebody was saying you only get 3 a week for everybody. So, I mean, if you like something that I put out, give it that boost. I appreciate it. All right. So, thank you very much, guys. Have a great night, and I will talk to you all later. Prepper Nurse 1 out for now. And she is still outside.